Welcome to Ask Sid, the official podcast for Sydenham Clinic, a clinic where luxury meets medicine. We are on a quest for longevity. And I am so thrilled to be your host on this show. My name is Aanchal Bhatia. I am the founder and CEO of Sydenham Clinic and the author of Your Doctor is Not God and How to Be the CEO of Your Health. I look forward to taking this journey with all of you and having amazing thought leaders, guests, and members of our Sydenham team answering questions that you put forward. And I urge you, and I hope you will, ask Sid more questions on longevity, wellness, living to your highest potential. We are all trying to be the best versions of ourselves, and our physical, emotional, and mental health is foundational for us to achieve health and success in other realms of our life. So welcome to Ask Sid. Welcome back to our Sydenham podcast. And today I am thrilled to be starting a brand new series called Ask Sid. Yes, you got it. We get questions from all of you and our Sydenham professionals, as well as professionals in the field of medicine, science, longevity, come right here to talk about the latest, greatest developments in health, wellness, longevity, and preventive medicine. Today's guest is extremely special because not only is he a pioneer in aerospace medicine, but he also is a Sydenham member. So I am really looking forward to an out of this world conversation with Dr. Smith Johnston. And I promise you, he probably has like a 6-page bio, but I'm going to try and highlight some of your main credentials. And the first one being, Dr. Smith Johnston is a former medical director and occupational flight medicine clinic flight surgeon, right? And you also led the human health and performance and longevity program at NASA. You were also the medical advisory board for Virgin Galactic, right? And our very own company here in Houston called Axiom Space, where they're trying to send private civil astronauts into space. And we are also fortunate in Houston to have the illustrious UTMB, which is the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston, where you are an adjunct clinical faculty member. You're also on the advisory board and committee of the National Science Foundation of Polar Medicine program at Washington, D.C. You were the retired chief medical officer at Axiom Space. I already covered that, but I really want to dive more into your role at Axiom because that was fairly recent, right? So, Dr. Johnston, tell us more about your amazing career, which is extreme medicine. I would say forget aerospace medicine, right? That's what you did.
That's true. First of all, Angela, it's so good to be here. It's really good not only to be on this podcast and try to be an expert witness, but also be a patient advocate and a patient here. So I can use myself, I can use my medical data to sort of reinforce how it's helped me, and it's also helped my patients. And my patients have been fortunate. 32 years at Johnson Space Center, and I've had the honor and privilege of taking care of the astronauts and their family members. So I think I've worked over 25 shuttle missions as a physician in care of the astronauts. I've done 2 long duration missions where they've launched and landed from Kazakhstan. I was on the advisory board for the National Science Foundation. So again, extreme medicine. We're taking basically what aerospace medicine is, and my training is in internal and aerospace medicine. And we're basically glorified occupational medicine docs. We're taking really healthy people and we're putting them in a very unique environment. And so space is taking an astronaut. First, we have to screen an astronaut and make sure they don't have any medical issues that could put them in jeopardy up in space. But we screen them and we make sure we've got a candidate who has got the right stuff, who's going to be on board for 10 or 20 years for a career. And then we take that person and put them in outer space. And outer space is really cool. I would love to go. I'm on some lists. I hope I make it in my lifetime. Sorry, kids, some of that won't go towards your inheritance.
I
but
hear it costs $55 million at Axiom. Is that right?
It's I can't. It's around 65. But I
wow.
can't go. I'm not going to afford that. But you can go up for 4 minutes with Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic. You can go up and do a 4-minute ride, and they'll get that down to about $100,000 to $350,000. So that's affordable in my lifetime. Hopefully. Right now it's not, but so we basically take these very healthy people and we put them in this really beautiful environment. It's a great view, but it's also an accelerated state of aging. So you've got 10 times the radiation. You're about 250 miles out from the Earth. So the closer you get to the sun, the more radiation you get and the less protection you get from what's called the Van Allen belts that protect us from solar particles that come in and hit our DNA and damage it. So we have DNA damage every day, but we repair it. And I think that's my big lesson learned for being up in space and being in this hazardous, advanced state of aging, accelerated environment is, yes, you're going to lose 10 times your bone mass. You're going to get a sunrise and sunset every 45 minutes. So sleep is going to be really interesting for you. You're also having to scrub the environment, the carbon dioxide that we produce. You have to scrub there. And that can be 5 to 10 times higher than an OSHA standard for a workplace environment. And again, 10 times the radiation, and you're floating, so you've got 10 times the bone loss. Right. So everything we can do for our astronauts to prepare them for that environment, to give them countermeasures for that environment, benefits all of us here on the ground. So that's one of my deals is space medicine, terrestrial applications for human health, performance, and longevity. Because we all want to live a long and productive, purposeful life without infirmment. The fastest growing population in the country is now centenarians. I think they're 80 or 90,000 now.
Right.
And then we could talk super centenarians. And there's no reason if we use the precision medicine programs of this clinic,
yes,
we can help our astronauts. We can help, that's basically what I've done. The last 5 years I was at NASA. I retired in 2019. I ran the flight medicine clinic. So not only did we see active astronauts, but 73% of the core is retired or over the age of 60.
Wow.
So I've got 37 astronauts in their 80s and 90s. And that's
that data.
Yes.
Just that data is so valuable.
Exactly. Data on, and what is it? What are the paradigms for living a long, productive life? It's what you eat. It's what you breathe. It's how fit you are, how strong you are, and your psychological well-being. And my number one, when I'm a primary care physician, again, training was internal and aerospace medicine, and you can actually get your board certification in aerospace medicine, is actually sleep is one of my best indicators. I mean, think about sleep, and I think we'll talk about sleep later.
Absolutely, that's one big topic that I am going to delve into. But coming back to precision
bring me
medicine,
back because I ramble. I've got my ADD
that's
going.
Fine. Coming back to precision medicine, right?
Yes.
We were talking about how we have so much data on these astronauts. So I really feel NASA was a pioneer in personalized medicine. It truly was, because one size does not fit all.
Correct.
Each person is unique, everybody is different.
Right.
And that's where medicine is going today.
Right.
Right? It's tailor-made, customized solutions based on your genomics. I mean, at Sydenham, we have these 7 pillars of health, which is genomics,
yes,
nutrition, gut health, hormones, sleep, psychology, and physiology, right? Yes. And we try and optimize all our members around these 7 pillars. Right. But the beauty of what we're doing at Sydenham is really bringing back that partnership between the physician and the patient. So it is beautiful to see such an accomplished physician like you work with Dr. Terry Rice and Dr. Adam Britton here at Sydenham Clinic. And that partnership is what is the key to you having great health and we learning from you and you learning from us.
Right.
I really want to go back into your experience at Sydenham Clinic? Because you really had access to amazing health at NASA.
My experience here has been really eye-opening in that we can now use genetic testing on our genome, which is about 20 to 30% of us. The rest of it is our epigenetics.
Absolutely.
It's how we react to foods, to toxins. For instance, I found out, although I knew at NASA, I tested my mercury levels because being in aircraft operations, you get exposed to heavy metals, arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury. And so we would have a battery where we would test people, and my mercury level was always sort of high. And then I came here and got more of the precision looking at my genes, my SNPs, and found out that I do have a predisposition for not handling heavy metals. I was then put on a nutraceutical, which helped bind the mercury and facilitate my ability to get rid of heavy toxic metals.
So even though you have a really good lifestyle and
Yes.
you are following everything to be low on your mercury content, you have the gene that doesn't let you detoxify easily. And you found that out here at Sydenham, so
Right.
you're adapting your lifestyle.
Right.
Tell me more about the accountability piece. Like, how does Sydenham help hold you accountable, and why is that so important to have that relationship with your primary care team to really move the needle in longevity?
It's a primary care team, well put. It's not only just the physician who's well versed in nutrition and physical therapy and medicine and genomics, but it's also the team. You know, you've got a great nutritionist in Shauna. You've got a great trainer system. So, I mean, one of the most important things as we get older, as we age,
Right.
is to keep strong. I mean, that's what I learned from my evaluations, that you need to stay stronger. We know that the fitter you are, the longer you live, the less cancer you have. We also know the stronger you are, the longer you live, the less cancer you have, the better quality of life. So being able to work with a team and get parameters every 3 months, 6 months on, well, let's try this nutraceutical, let's try this medication. I have a genetic predisposition to atherosclerosis.
Right.
I have the lipo(a). So again, back to your earlier point, precision medicine is taking your genetic positives and negatives, your lifestyle, where you live, what your history is,
Right.
and putting that together for you. If you use basic, standard medicine for it and you apply it to an individual, you can do harm. So for me, getting the information and realizing that my total cholesterol should be well under 150. We used to say cholesterol at 300 was good, then
Right.
200, then 150. But my LDL, I have a genetic predisposition not only to having a lot of low density lipoprotein, the bad cholesterol, but I also have my particle size. They're very small particles.
Right.
And that enables them to get underneath my artery and form goo to form a plaque.
Right.
And so being able to tailor my nutrition, my nutraceuticals, my lifestyle, my physical fitness.
You also have a personal goal of below 30, right? Like
Correct.
That, now,
Yeah. That's what I was trying to get to.
How is that even achievable? Like no physician will ever say, "Hey, I want your count below 30."
Yeah, you can do that with diet, exercise, but also for me, it takes medication. Like a lot of people have antihypertensive medicines to
Right.
keep their blood pressure low. That's just the way they're wired. And you can do as much as you can with the right diet, the right exercise. But eventually, sometimes you need medicines. And for me, I take a statin, I take a PCSK9 inhibitor, I take an injection to get my levels really, really low. And then I try to eat a great diet.
Right.
I'm meeting with a nutritionist after this to go over my diet and see what else I can do.
Yeah. That is the beauty, right? Because health is dynamic.
Correct.
You can't just go once a year, go get an executive health checkup.
No.
Oh, this is clear, you're below 150, but actually you've come up with a goal of having a cholesterol below 30, for example. And then every few months you tweak it, and then you have new health goals. And that's the whole beauty of aging gracefully like you are.
Right.
I want to dive into a subject that's very close to your heart, which is sleep. all of us entrepreneurs who lead busy lives, we travel so much, we're in different time zones. We never think of optimizing our performance by using sleep and time shifting as a hack.
Yes.
And you've really mastered biohacking through time shifting because you worked with various sports teams, you've worked with polar medicine and how that impacts. I really want to delve deep into how we, give us some like practical things that we can do in our lives to be able to time shift and optimize sleep, which is foundational. Because if you don't sleep, your hormones are out of whack, right? You're feeling inflamed, you eat the wrong foods, everything just goes out of the window. You may eat the healthiest food, but if you're not sleeping, it's foundational.
Your
right?
IQ will drop 10 or 20 points if you 1 or 2 hours sleep. And in fact, they had it last night on NPR. They did a great piece on sleep in children and how it's such a problem. But how I got started in this was when I first arrived at NASA in 1990. The astronauts they were having to go up and then fly this shuttle, this glider to fly down. You have to have 1,000 practice runs before you can sit in the commander's seat of the shuttle. And because sleep is a tough thing, you have to acclimate to zero gravity. You get space motion sickness, your vestibular system is all out of whack, so you're not feeling that great. The carbon dioxide level is, like I mentioned, 5 to 10 times higher, which can affect you. And you're under the gun. You've got to go do a spacewalk, you've got to go build a space station. And then you're traveling all over the world.
Right.
We have mission controls in NASA, in Scuba and JAXA, and Japanese Space Station, in Moscow, in the European Space Agency, and the space station's on Greenwich Mean Time. And because of orbital mechanics, the shuttle could be delayed or vehicles can be delayed, so we have to shift all these folks around. So the most important shifter is light. Okay. Light is the key.
And you said every 45 minutes there is
a sunrise and sunset. So I tell my astronauts, if you're trying to go to bed, don't go out and watch a sunrise come up, because you're going to get so much blue and green light, cool light. Those are the cool, bright lights. And those lights are like the outside, it's like the green and blue that we evolved from. Those suppress melatonin, and they make what's called melanopsin. So that's the yin and yang of melatonin. So melatonin is your sleep hormone. So what you can do is manipulate light with glasses and darkness. You can take melatonin at the proper time. Melatonin is not...
So give me an example. Like I fly to India every few months, right?
Okay.
So how should I be time shifting?
You should, it's very difficult for you to figure it out. So what you should do is we developed an app through the folks at Brigham, at Harvard, Steve Lockley. Again, when I mentioned in 1990, the astronauts came in and asked for help with sleep. They asked, how can you shift us? And it's by using bright lights to delay you going to sleep. If we're in a bright light, say you go to bed at 10 or 11 at night, so you want to avoid bright lights 2 hours before then. That's what's going on with our kids. Everybody's on a cell phone. Right. Everybody's on a bright blue light screen, and you can't go to sleep. And pre-high school kids need even more sleep. They need an extra hour. They need 9 hours. Think of it, sleep. Sleep is what we spend a third of our lives doing. A third of our lives should be, we should use sleep medicine. That's why it became such a specialty, because people with syndromes can't sleep, they don't function well, it's just not good. So what can we do? The best thing you can do is download Time Shifter.
Right.
It's an app.
Right.
And it explains to you, simply plug in your air fare. But
so this is why, at Sydenham, everybody gets an Aura ring, and we know sleep is foundational, we track it. How do you do it for athletes? Because you have teams that play at matches at different times, and you were saying that we all have our peak, like we are performing to our peak a few hours after we wake up, and even the Aura, like through the Aura we can track it, right?
It's in the afternoon. Your peak, depending on your chronotype. You could be an early riser, a late riser, an intermediate individual, depending on your per 1, 2, or 3 genes that you inherited. And so what you're trying to do is find out, well, first of all, so your peak, they've done studies, and your peak temperature, where your temperature is the highest, the cortisol hormone levels, growth hormone, you're at your peak sometime in the afternoon, around 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon is your peak.
So how do you do this with athletes? Like they're not always playing their games in the afternoons, right?
Right. You try to shift them with light, melatonin, and you try to have as many days. Like the football teams we worked with were the easiest because they had every week. If you played at noon, the Atlanta Falcons, we worked with them. I'm from Atlanta. If you played the Carolina Panthers in the afternoon, and then the next week you played the Oakland Raiders at noon Oakland time, that's 3 hours later, and then the next week you play the New Orleans Saints at Monday Night Football, that's another 5 to 8 hours later, and then you come back to Atlanta and you have to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at noon. That's a lot of shifting, so you have to, coach, let them sleep in, let them, so that you've got a week, so by the time they're playing their game, their peak circadian rhythm, that 1 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, is the same as the time that they're there. They're playing the Monday Night Football game.
Right.
So they've slept in.
This is fascinating because this is the kind of approach, our members here at Sydenham are all, extremely vested in their health. Like we really feel health is the most valuable asset you have. Of course, these people are wealthy, but health is a bigger asset than their financial wealth. So they need to be in peak state for different business meetings, for taking big decisions.
Right.
And they treat themselves like you treat your athletes. So, some of these learnings are extremely valuable, and I hope that everybody on today's podcast could walk away with some of the tools that you did mention.
Well, whatever benefits performance,
yes,
also benefits longevity in certain ways. If you're able to find the keys of eating at the right times, seeing light at the right times, traveling and changing your circadian rhythm to be at your peak when you're giving a talk. I was just in Florence, Italy a week and a half ago. So I've used Time Shifter to help me shift back. Using all these paradigms to help you perform and feel better and sleep better means you live longer. There's a direct correlation between the amount. It's really simple. It's nothing your grandmother didn't tell you.
No.
Eat your vegetables, get plenty of sleep, and take care of your family and
right.
Be happy.
It is ancient. So this is what I'm most passionate about, right? Marrying science with spirituality and ancient wisdom, because there is so many generations of wisdom that for a little while science just looked away from because it was considered non-scientific. But it's beautiful how you do value all this, and that's why before I end every podcast, I like to steer the conversation towards your personal, threads of wisdom. We have a term called sutra in Sanskrit, which means threads, and they're basically pearls of wisdom or threads of science, rules. So I would like you to please share your personal life sutra with our listeners today.
Oh, wow. Well, my life sutra is I was born in a group of educators. And so I think teaching is what I love. And my passion is teaching, and teaching that coronary disease is reversible. You
sent astronauts in space who had coronary disease.
Yes, we have at least, everyone in this country at the age, about 50% of the folks at the age of 30 in this country already have a 30% lesion somewhere in their coronary arteries. So you can start forming plaques as early as 9, 12 years of age, depending on your food, your nutrition, your exercise, all these parameters. So my sutra is to bring that knowledge to people, to help them, take control over their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
You know so much, right? And you just want to share. I
moved.
saw this yesterday. You have like this childlike enthusiasm where you were sitting on your floor showing me your slides. It truly does excite you, right? Because you have all this wisdom that's collected over decades.
Right.
And you're seeing this become a reality in your lifetime. People have traveled to space. Civil aviation is happening in front of your eyes.
And I didn't, the company I just retired from, I was with Axiom for about 4 years.
Right.
When I retired NASA in 2019, their goal is to build a commercial space station.
Right.
So NASA is building a space station around the moon, and that's the new push, is to go to the moon and colonize and explore the moon and asteroids and eventually Mars. Low Earth orbit is things in microgravity do different things. Stem cells grow exponentially. Cancers grow exponentially longer because you don't have the weight of gravity. You can build a better protein crystal. You can build a better fiber optic. So we're actually going to space to commercialize it. Back to your sutra.
So we all need to be in great health if we want to, benefit this new.
Right.
If you want to go live in space, you have to be extremely fit.
You do. You have to beef up your musculoskeletal system because you're going to lose some of that because
Right.
you're floating. And we have exercise prescriptions.
So are you always in peak state, ready to go to space?
I wish, but I'm not.
Okay.
And I'm going to see Adam and some folks, and they're going to help me tweak some
Of
things
course.
later. But it's empowering people to be able to make a difference in their lives and their families, right. and to be alone. There's no reason we shouldn't make it if we don't get hit by a truck.
Right.
We should make it to 120, 130.
Right.
And now with stem cells and precision genomic medicine, which used to cost tens of thousands of dollars and take months to do, now you can do for $300 and you can get the results in a couple hours.
Wow.
So you can, even if you develop a cancer, hold on. You can go find a specific piece of that cancer that you can make a smart bomb now and get your immunologic system to go and take care of.
Fascinating.
You can use medications.
Fascinating.
And
Fascinating.
nutraceuticals.
This is also
exercise
exciting. Oh.
to do all this.
Well, thank you so much. This is just the first. I know you're going to be back on our podcast and you have so much wealth of knowledge that we're going to decode it topic by topic, Hopefully today we were able to give people some valuable insights on time shifting.
Yes.
And treat yourself like an athlete, treat yourself like an astronaut. Time shift, take the advantage of getting deep sleep, right. Getting your REM sleep so that you're at your peak creative state. And my last question before we go, and you can be as naughty or as controversial as you want to or not, what is your secret sutra?
Oh,
your personal secret sutra.
My secret sutra is to get as many people to outer space, or at least to view the world without boundaries. It's called the overview effect.
Wow.
And all the astronauts that have gone up, they've all come back with, profoundly affected by looking at the world. Hey, this is the town I grew up in, or this is the country I grew up. Wait, there are no borders. You can also see the environment. You can see the thin atmosphere that we have to take care of. We have to get smart very quickly, because global warming is
a reality.
It is.
Yeah, it must be exhilarating because you're suddenly saying, hey, this is my planet, right? Versus all the different definitions we have based on boundaries. So yes, I think it's extremely important for humanity. And thank you for the work that you're doing. We at Sydenham are fortunate to have 3 NASA physicians as our members. So being in Houston, having this amazing medical team, having all of you, I'm hoping we can build a really cutting edge precision medicine program for all you private people who want to go into space. We can get you to peak state and as well as prevent, because you said there is damage that's going to happen if we go into outer space.
Right.
So if we do this the right way, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
We're having fun. This is fun.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to curating more programs, to really upping our game here at Sydenham and keep moving the needle to redefine health and medicine. Yeah. Thank you so much again for coming, and I look forward to having you back again and again to dive really deep into all that wisdom that you have and all the new cutting edge advancements that are happening in the space of aerospace medicine. And before we sign off, remember, health is by choice, not by chance. So choose well.